Kevin.
Thanks. Antonio, first question. I mean, obviously you had a lot of emotion the other day at the face-off, and certainly today Herb Dean had trouble pulling you away when he was stopping the fight. Why were you so angry? What was it that Overeem did that made you so angry?
Yeah, I'm so angry because he not respect me. You know, he talk a lot of bullshit and shit before the fight. You know, and the fight win just inside the cage, not outside. And when they stop the fight, and I'm very excited, you know, and I just want to talk to him. Hey, get up. I want to fight. Fight hard, man. Come on, get up. Just this. I don't want just that.
And what happened? You know, the first 2 rounds you didn't have a lot of offense. You know, it seemed like, you know, you were neutralized, and then you were shot out of a cannon in the 3rd round. Did the corner get on you, or did you just realize, hey, I need to, you know, change the way the fight goes?
Yeah, I work a lot in the gym, and I have a good strategy, you know, because we know Overeem don't have a good cardio and no hurt. When he punch, he's a lion, but when the guy punch him, he's a cat, you know. And I'm waiting the first round. The 2nd round, I talk with his ear when he used his ground and pound. Let's go, man, punch hard. I confuse his mind, you know. And all the time when he's punch, he breathes fast. Man, this guy not come for the final round. And my corner say, hey, when you use your right punch, he move the head. Use 2 times, 1 and uppercut. And I do that, and I got it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dana, 2 questions for you. One about his fight. What does that do to your heavyweight title picture now? Because it seems like you don't really have a clear contender for the heavyweight title.
Yeah, going into this fight, you know, we talked about, you know, if Alistair Overeem won, you know, well, he and Alistair had just fought. I mean, he and Cain Velasquez had just fought recently. But I'm telling you, the way that he looked in this fight and what he did to Alistair, maybe we do this fight again. Again, you guys know I don't make fights as soon as the fight's over, but I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
And I just wonder if you can comment on the main event. Obviously, the scoring, you know, was a little bit controversial again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had it 3-2 for Aldo, 1-2-3, and then 4-5 for Edgar. What did you think? And you know, Frankie Edgar, like, can you comment on sort of? He seems to be snake bitten, always comes up short in these very close fights.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that he's like the Arturo Gatti of this sport. I mean, the first 2 rounds, you're like, there's no way that this kid's even going to be in this fight. And then he starts to find his range in the 3rd round, starts to land. You know, everything starts to turn. And yeah, I agree with you that I think that the scoring was way off, and it should have been a lot closer than that. But it's all on how you judge that 3rd round. But I do think Aldo won the fight. You know, I don't think it's so much controversy that you're going, oh no, Frankie. I think Frankie won that, but God, you got to love and respect that kid.
I've got a question for you, Damian. Congratulations. The current talk around the internet is that you out-Fitched John Fitch. I'm just curious if how you feel about that, and you know, if what your strategy was going into it, and how you felt it played out tonight.
Okay. The strategy was to do what I did, you know, go and try to take him down, take his back. Unfortunately, I was not able to submit him because he's very tough to submit. I just realized when I got inside the cage and I got his back, I said, okay, now, you know, let's try like I did my last fights, but just didn't work. And but the strategy, the A plan was that we had a B plan and A plan. The A plan, you know, was what I did. So I'm very happy because I won one of the toughest guy in the division. I just remember him losing for GSP and to Johnny Hendricks, and I was able to control him. Of course, I always like to submit. I'm training a lot more jiu-jitsu nowadays to submit the fights and give a good fight for the fans, but sometimes it's just impossible.
Is there any sense of you wishing you had dropped to 170 earlier in your career?
Yeah, I think that sometimes, but you know, you cannot go back to the past. So I just think ahead.
And lastly, Dana, for you, just if you could comment on your Strikeforce fighters tonight. They did very well.
Yeah, I actually had, I've been saying this a lot over the last couple of weeks, without getting into it, I felt bad about what's happened to those guys over there in the last year. Nothing I could do. They hung in there, and they came in tonight and delivered, and it was fun tonight. As those guys kept coming out from the prelims, I kept having guys come over to my room after the prelims, and it was just, the prelims were awesome tonight. These guys came in from Strikeforce, and they really did a great job tonight. I'm happy for them. Life is going to be a lot different for these guys now.
Yeah, and I was wondering how close you were to giving Tyron the knockout of the night bonus.
I know. Bigfoot fucked him. Yeah. Somebody give the mic to Lance Pugmire up here. Thanks.
Just real quick, Dana, would you say that Antonio is the favorite to get the fight against Cain? And Antonio, from your perspective, would it be a better fight this time around against Cain, and why?
Yeah, like I said, right here, right now, I don't like to make fights or say what I'm going to do next, but I wouldn't be opposed to giving him the fight. He went in there, and he knocked out. They called that a TKO. That was a knockout. He knocked out Alistair Overeem, and he looked great doing it, so we'll see what happens.
Dana,
oh, wait, let him. He had a question, too.
Man, I don't know. Now I'll be back to my home, stay with my family. In 2 weeks I'll be back to train, and I just want to fight the best, and the best heavyweights are here in UFC. If Dana, Joe Silva, UFC want to give another opportunity to fight Cain Velasquez, will be a pleasure. He's a big champion. He's a tough guy. He's a very great guy. And I just want to fight the best guys. And I want to fight who UFC wanna, who better for the show for UFC.
Dana, despite the fact that you don't like making matches right now, I mean, there were some meaningful fights tonight. Rashad Evans losing. Does that open the door? Is Chris Weidman the only guy left now?
I would have to say yes. I mean, I liked going into this fight anyway. We wanted to wait. We wanted to see what happens, and I liked Weidman for this fight anyway. So yeah, and Rashad looked worse than I've ever seen him tonight. He looked terrible.
Yeah. Have you talked to Anderson about that at all? His camp, I know Ed's in town. Have you approached them about that fight yet, or?
No, it's always a process in dealing with Anderson and getting him his next fight. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just I'm used to it. I know how this all goes. Everybody thinks that he's ducking. I don't know why he does this. He makes it look like he doesn't want to fight Weidman. Believe me right here, right now, when I tell you, Anderson Silva does not care who he fights. Whoever we end up coming up with him to fight, he will fight. There's never been a situation where I've been with Anderson Silva where he's said, I will absolutely not fight this guy. So, yeah, my long-winded answer to your question is yes.
And one other, a lot of the talk right now is Joseph Benavidez, been at the top recently, but with his performance right now, could he be in line for a title shot again? Is it too soon? What do you think?
I don't know. We'll see. Right. We'll see what he wants to do.
Thanks. And for Tyron, if I could, please. Tyron, obviously, incredible debut for you this evening. Can you talk about the feeling of going out and doing what you did tonight?
It just felt really good to make a statement. The gifts has been in there the whole time, and a lot of people don't realize at the beginning of my career I finished everybody. So for me, it's a new leaf turned over. It's a new organization, and I wanted to send a message to all the welterweights that know I'm here.
And if I could quickly, now that the champ is here, obviously congratulations to Jose. Can you talk about his game plan coming in? It seemed like the leg kicks weren't part of the plan to start with. Then he went to it. Then he went away from it. What was the game plan, and how did it play out versus expectations?
Ele perguntou qual foi a estratégia, se era para não usar tantos os chutes, se essa foi a estratégia mesmo da luta que você fez.
Então, era assim, a gente tinha que chutar para minar a perna dele, para justamente ele parar de se movimentar, né? Então, eu fui chutando ali com o passar do tempo, mas uma hora a gente percebeu que ele estava esperando o chute para botar para baixo. Então, eu administrei mais na parte da mão mesmo, no boxe.
Yeah, the plan was to kick him and keep him from moving a little bit, but I started to see that he was checking my kicks and he was maybe going for the takedown once I kicked, so I used my hands a little bit more.
Dana, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about the Little Nog fight against Rashad, and where does win puts him on the division right now?
It was a big win for him. Beating Rashad Evans, is a big win. Rashad Evans has lost to Machida and Jones. That's it. And Little Nog went in there and won tonight, and it puts him in a very good position.
And I have a question for Aldo. I'm going to ask in Portuguese and we can translate it. Aldo, eu queria saber de você, se você achou que essa luta, se você imaginou em algum momento que essa luta seria tão difícil e que todo mundo dizia que ele poderia chegar no quarto e no quinto round com vantagem, né? Se você já imaginou que seria dessa forma.
Lógico, né? Ele é um grande campeão, ele mostrou o seu valor no peso leve, então eu treinei bastante, eu treinei para fazer 10 rounds. Acho que só eu sei o que eu sofri na academia esperando essa luta, né? Então fiquei muito feliz quando colocaram o Frank Edgar, sabendo que é um cara super campeão, né? Só fez grandes lutas com grandes lutadores. Então é assim que eu quero ser lembrado, eu quero lutar com os melhores sempre. E sempre vou estar bem preparado para fazer se 5, 8, 10, quantos rounds for preciso, eu vou fazer.
E só vou fazer mais uma pergunta aí, a gente transa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the question was if he believed this fight was going to be as difficult, and there's a lot of people saying in the 4th and 5th round it would get more difficult for Jose, and he said, yeah, Frankie was a great champion. He was ready to go and fight 8 or 10 rounds if needed, but he knew Frankie was a great champion coming into this fight. He had a lot of time to train, and he was very happy when he got the chance to fight him.
E você está pensando agora em subir de divisão ou tem uma resposta já com relação a isso?
Então, agora não é comigo, acho que é o Joe Silva, o Dana, se eles quiserem. Me testar na categoria de cima, eu aceito sim, eu acho que eu estou disposto a lutar com os melhores. Eu treino, respeito a todos, mas eu estou muito feliz de estar ali dentro, então quem eles colocarem para mim, eu vou aceitar com o maior prazer.
The question was if he's thinking of moving up in weight class. He said that's up to Dana and Joe Silva. He's willing to fight anyone. He trains to fight anyone, so whoever they put in front of him.
We'll see what happens. Something interesting happened about 10 minutes ago. Somebody texted me and said, I want to fight him really bad, and so I got to talk to them and talk to him and talk to them and see what happens. Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, almost.
It'd be very interesting. Anthony Pettis said, I want to move to 145 and fight Jose Aldo. He just texted me 10 minutes ago. No, he goes down. He'll meet him at 145. So we'll see what happens.
I have my question is for both Bigfoot and Lil Nog. Both of you guys during this week were kind of there was a lot of talk about your opponents getting fights after they beat you guys. Can you talk about that situation, and did that motivate you even more tonight?
Muita gente estava falando durante a semana das lutas que os seus adversários teriam depois de vencer essas lutas. O que vocês acham disso agora?
So I think that thing motivated me a lot because I know before he fight against Anderson Silva, he had a big fight against me, So I've been prepared a lot. My wrestling skills, my box. I know I was very prepared to make this.
Many people don't believe in my job, and but I believe me, and I start no respect me so much, and I work too hard my striking for this fight with Catel Cubes. He's the best coach striking from Brazil, and I show for the world the guys are wrong about me, and I show specific to Overeem, and I show how he gonna respect the other fighter.
And Bigfoot, can you put this fight in perspective for you, for your career? You've had another big fight in the past that was a high-profile fight, a big win for you against Fedor. And can you put this fight, this win, considering the lack of respect you received, and can you put it in perspective as far as your career is?
Bota essa luta em perspectiva na tua carreira. Você teve uma outra grande luta que foi com o Fedor, e agora essa luta você disse que as pessoas não respeitavam. Diz como é que é na tua carreira.
Yeah, these fights are very important to my professional life. The first fight with Fedor, many people don't believe in my job, and now the same thing. I like this situation. I like be underdog, you know, because I'm trained too much. And many people think that I was in my home, drink soda, watch movie, and eat popcorn. But no, man, I'm training hard. I'm training Saturday, Sunday, you know, I'm training Christmas, New Year, and I give my blood for this fight, and I give for other fights too.
I got a question for Bigfoot. Bigfoot, now that your fight with Overeem is over, are you planning on returning back to the Black Zillions?
No, I train in the best teams in the world. You know, the Tinogueira in Rio de Janeiro, with Rogério, Rodrigo, Feijão, you know. And when I'm here in the USA, I train in the American top team, the best team of the Florida. And I have a good camp all the times, and I don't want to go to Black Zilla. Black Zilla is just business, you know, and I don't have love with the guys. And I want to train when I have a lot of friends, true friends. And HT and Tinogueira, I have a true friends.
Another question for Damien. Damien, are you willing to, right here, are you willing to disclose what your plan B was for Fitch if the plan A didn't work?
Yeah, let's see, I wasn't able to grapple with him, you know, of course, was to strike, but there are some specific things that we are doing in the striking game that I was training specifically for him.
Joe, just a couple quick ones for you. Pretty satisfied with the win. What were your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. You know, anytime you go out and beat, a tough guy, a top contender like Ian McCall, I mean, you got to be happy. You know, I went out there. I really actually started feeling a lot better in the third, and when the fight ended, I was like, dang, this is a fun fight. It was a great opponent, and wish we could go a few more. So I was really starting to feel in the third, and yeah, I had fun out there. It was good to be back in there. I felt super composed, and I'm tough with the win. I mean, I went out there and hit him with all I had, and gave him all I had, and he took it. So it was nice, and it's always great to go out there and get the knockout. I know I rocked him early, but I grow more as a fighter. Going those second rounds and the third rounds, and I get better, and that's what I'm trying to do. So it's perfect, man. I'm happy with the way things went.
And you had said before the fight that you were actually leaning towards wanting a couple fights in between your next title shot. Now that the fight is over, you know how it went, you got the win. Do you still feel that way, or would you like to kind of make a case for a title shot right now?
Well, I'm not going to beg for a title shot. I'm not going to ask for one, and I wouldn't mind, of course, like I just said, just improving. Mighty Mouse went out there last time and beat me. He's beat everyone in the division, the top 3 guys. So, I would just like to get better, but, give me a title shot, and I'm going to do everything in my power to go in there and take that as well. So, I mean, either way is good for me, but like I said, I'm continuing to improve in the fight, in this 3-round, fight with such a tough guy like Uncle Creepy was awesome for me.
Dana, back here. Just if you can give us your thoughts on Jose Aldo now that he's defeated Frankie on record. How does he match up, or in terms of the pound-for-pound list? Because we always talked about Frankie Edgar as one of the guys up there.
No, I agree. He's one of the best pound-for-pound. I mean, again, off the top of my head, the list, I mean, he's up there. He's one of the top guys in the world. I call this a super fight between 2 of the pound-for-pound best in the world in their prime, and Jose Aldo won the fight. He is definitely one of the top 4 or 5 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world.
Question for Frankie, obviously. Frankie, I mean, search online, talk to anybody in this room. People are wavering back and forth as to who won the fight. You tell me your thoughts on how that fight went down and what's going through your mind right now.
Jose is a champion, and that's pretty much the bottom line. I don't want to be talking about, do you think you won, this and that, the score, the rounds. It doesn't matter. He left with the belt, and he's a champion deservingly.
Dana, regarding Damien, I know that the welterweight division, a lot of key fights are happening next month in Montreal.
Right.
But where do you think that he stands right now after this win? Because, I mean, he dominated a guy who no one's really dominated like that before.
Yep. Again, like I was talking about Rashad Evans, if you look at Fitch, let me think off the top of my head, George St. Pierre and
Hendricks,
yeah. So, yeah, it's a good win for for Fitch, he's lost 2 of his last 3. But he's a tough guy, and the perfect way to describe this fight was he outfitched Fitch. Is exactly. I mean, I said the same thing, and that's what everybody else was saying. And after this tournament happens up in Montreal, you know, he will fall right in there somewhere with one of these guys, and we'll do a fight. And I see him becoming a #1 contender pretty quick.
And for Frankie, I mean, when you look at this fight, I mean, is there anything that you came out of the fight as far as surprises or with Jose, or was it what you expected?
Yeah, you know, I felt I was prepared in all areas. You know, he's one of the top pound for pounds. I heard what Dana just said, and yeah, I mean, he brought everything.
For Frankie, now that it's over and you had the fight at 145, do you feel better as a featherweight, or do you like how you feel as a fighter fighting at lightweight?
The fight's kind of keeps on going the same way wherever I'm at, you know. Get a little beat up and end with these close fights. So I don't know if it matters, to be honest with you.
But as far as your skills out there, I mean, did you
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
you
I feel
lost
like I
anything?
match up well with guys at 55 and at 45, you know.
Do you think you'll stick around at 145 now?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, man, to be honest with you. It's just too soon.
Thanks.
Frankie, how did you change the flow of the fight there, where he was really kind of taking you apart with the legs early, and then you seemed to take that away from him? What was the key to taking that away?
I just think I turned the pressure up. You know, I tried to back him up as much as I can and just, you know, push the pace.
It's always a tough thing to like look back on it, but you've always been a slow starter in these fights. You know, here you had the momentum going 3, 4, 5. Is there, you know, what do you think about those slow starts? And you know, I'm sure you've talked about it in practice. You know, what do you do to get yourself in the fights earlier?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's something we're gonna have to figure out soon. You know.
Frankie, what's up, man? Hey, you started. This is your first fight at featherweight, and I want to know, how did you feel in the early rounds, and did you feel, did you have to, was your body adjusting as you went along, or were you comfortable from the very beginning?
I felt like I do at 55. You know, I didn't feel any different. Everything was the same to me as far as that goes.
He seemed very fast early on. Was his speed something that you had to adjust to, or were you okay with it?
Yeah, you know, I was fairly okay with it. We knew he was going to be fast. You know, probably maybe one of the fastest guys I fought. So that's something we expected.
Was there anything different about being at featherweight as opposed to being at lightweight, being that you had to cut the weight?
I mean, no, not really. You know, maybe I didn't get backed up as much with the bigger punches. I really didn't see the fight, so.
Okay.
Marcus Corval with the MMA Net. First question for Bigfoot. Did you get a chance to speak to Overeem after the fight? And if so, was it more respectful?
Você falou com o Overeem depois da luta, ele foi mais respeitoso?
Yes, after knockout, he's my friend now.
But just Aldo, it looks like you still want to fight up there moving. Dana just mentioned Showtime Pettis. Is that a fight that you look forward to?
Você está se mexendo aí, parece que ainda quer lutar. O Dana falou do Anthony Pettis, é uma luta que te interessa?
Depende do Dana. Eu acho que isso, para mim, eu já falei, eu respeito todos, eu treino para lutar com os melhores. Se ele colocar, não posso fazer nada. Sou funcionário e obedeço o patrão. Acho que seria uma luta boa, mas eu acho que, para mim chegar no Pérez, eu acho que eu tenho que caminhar fazendo um longo caminho. Eu acho que ele já está batendo na porta do cinturão, então eu respeito. Mas se eles colocarem, eu tenho que lutar.
Yeah, like I said, it's up to Dana, but I mean, that is an interesting fight. I train to fight the best. I respect them all. I think to fight Pettis, he's almost there at the title shot in his own division, but it will be an interesting fight.
And lastly, for Tyron Woodley, that was a big statement tonight. Coming in from Showtime as one of the best and former champ. Is there anyone out there that you want next?
It's a ton of guys. They all fighting on March 16th, so I'll be sitting there waiting. Was only in there for 30-something seconds today, so I'm still fresh. I'll continue to train, and, you know, God forbid, you know, I never wish any injury upon anyone, but March 16th, my passport is valid, so if someone falls out, I want in.
Lastly for Dana, today Vitor Belfort said he wants John Jones yet again. What's your comment on that?
I have none. I'm not making any fights tonight.
I have a question for Dana. I'd like to know if you consider a JDS over in fight right now.
I just said I'm not making any fights tonight. Yeah. I'm not making a fight. Yeah, I think that, you know, we were just talking about who's next for Cain Velasquez. That's a tougher question than you know, who's next. There's a lot of interesting fights to make in the heavyweight division. Who fights Cain next is the toughest. That's why I say, when I tell you guys I definitely don't when a guy just comes out, but I wouldn't be opposed to giving him the fight after what he just did. And you know, a question was asked of him earlier. I mean, this guy has beat some tough guys. So, we'll see.
Tenho alguma pergunta em português para o Aldo, se puder traduzir. Aldo, eu queria saber se, na sua opinião, a luta também foi tão parelha, tão disputada assim como você acha, como você avaliou, quais rounds você acha que você realmente ganhou?
Então, para mim, a luta sempre foi parelha pelo fato de eu não conseguir o nocaute, né? Então, o Frank estava vindo para cima, mas, para mim, se eu perdi 1 minuto do 4º round. Então, eu acho que ganhei todos os rounds. Eu fui muito mais contundente do que ele, então eu conectei muito mais golpes, chute e defendi bem as entradas de perna dele.
The question was, with all the talks about being such a close fight, how did he rate the rounds? And he said he feels he won every round except maybe 1 minute of the 4th round. He connected a lot more punches, a lot more strikes. He defended the takedowns. Frankie was always coming forward, but he feels that he won the rounds.
We'll take a couple more questions.
Renata Imoré, Canal Combate. Minha pergunta, I'm going to ask in Portuguese to Aldo. Aldo, você pode dizer que o Edgar foi o oponente mais duro que você já enfrentou?
Acho que toda luta para mim sempre vai ser dura, né? Eu respeito todo mundo, mas um cara que eu tiro o chapéu, que eu sei que se for lutar um dia com ele de novo, é 5 rounds, que é o Febe. O Febe já lutou com as 2 mãos quebradas e assim mesmo foi para cima o tempo todo. Então, para mim, essa luta, para mim, ficou marcada de ser a mais dura hoje. O Frank foi o campeão do peso leve, então ele tem o seu valor. Mas, para mim, o Ryan Faber é o mais duro que eu já enfrentei.
The question was, is Frankie the toughest opponent you faced? And Aldo said that he respects all his opponents, and he definitely was tough. But the toughest today was Uriah, who's a guy who's fought with both broken hands, and is a guy who he faced again. He think will be a tough fight. So, yeah, Uriah was probably the toughest one.
Take one more question. If anybody has one more question. No? Thank you very much. You have a great night. Appreciate it.
Pescoço ali, meu irmão, maluco.